Hello, everybody. It is Wednesday. Why Not Wednesday right here on the channel. If you guys want your questions answered right here on the pod, make sure to DM. You can leave your comments right here under the YouTube channel or hit my messages on TikTok at talkofthetown_pod. I'll make sure to leave it in the link in the description below for you guys. And yeah, let's get right into the first question of the video. Address how the Cavs are going to win the finals. I actually just got this question yesterday from a friend of mine. I was in the grocery store, and it's perfect. I decided to put it in the pod today because I was going to make a video about the Cavs tomorrow, but I have a lot of other topics I want to talk about, so this works perfectly. Thank God he asked that yesterday. So the Cavs have the easiest path they've had in a long time, since probably the LeBronto days, to be honest with you. And even then, there's difficulties. There's even difficulties now. It's not just, they have a free ride to the finals if they just play. Absolutely not. They have to compete with New York, but I like Cleveland a little better than New York, to be honest with you. I think Mitchell, to me, is a little bit better than Jalen Brunson. I watched Jalen Brunson play in the playoffs last year, and to me, especially against Indiana at least, was just not very good. When you could probably go back and look at the game stats and say, well, he had almost 30 points here. You watch the full game, Jalen Brunson disappears for a massive period of time. And honestly, I see that with a lot of Knicks games. I think Jalen Brunson's built a little bit of an overrated reputation to me because he just disappears for so long. Excuse me. Of course, my phone shuts off. But he's just built a little bit of an overrated reputation. He's still a great player. He's all NBA still to me, but I do like Donovan Mitchell a little better. Donovan Mitchell was hurt last year, especially in the playoffs. He was, you could tell it affected his game, especially against Indiana, even though Indiana supposedly Halliburton sold his soul to get to that championship, and they probably would have won it if he didn't go down in game 7. They were off to a pretty hot start, and I had money on Indiana winning that game, of course, and Halliburton goes down. That's just my luck. But the Cavs, the one thing the Cavs don't have, and it's a good thing, of course it's a good thing, like to see on a side, is a bad contract with an old player, or just a bad contract even with a young player in general. I'll name an example. Philadelphia right now with Paul George, that contract is a disaster. That is just an absolute disaster. Not only is Paul George now just injured all the time, it seems like he looks old when he plays. Like Paul George is just a shell of himself at this point. He is old. He's getting older. Not everyone's LeBron that can play until they're that old. Even KD to an extent. KD's getting old, but he's still playing pretty good at this point in his career. I mean, I remember Philadelphia was trying to get rid of Paul George supposedly going into the draft this year. And, they didn't. I'm actually surprised Paul George is still a 76er. But, he's still there. But they're stuck with it. Even if they get rid of him, they're just stuck with that awful contract. That's the thing about Paul George is his career's had constant ups and downs in his career. Whether it's him hurting his leg really bad at the beginning of his career, whether we all remember that. If you've seen the injury, it's pretty gruesome. And pandemic P in LA, but then he had his MVP year where he was a top 3 candidate in Oklahoma City. He had some really good years in LA, even 2 years ago. The year before he joined Philadelphia, he was pretty good. But it only takes just 1 year to just fall off in your old age. And he's really just looking old. And people are kind of slamming him for always. Seems like his heart's in the right place with doing the podcast. His podcast is like, dude, just retire then and do your podcast. Because when he's out there on the floor, the passion is not there. It looks like when he plays, and he is just slow and does not play like himself. I can never see Paul George playing like he once was, to be honest with you. Even when he's had his lows, he's always came back and played good. That's not going to happen anymore. I think he's legitimately just done. And I know I'm kind of going on about Paul George, but I'm just saying that to the example, if they don't have a contract like that, and to the extent of how bad that kind of contract can be, they don't have that. So that's good for their future. And Donovan Mitchell, I think one of the things I kind of wish they would have did, and I'm probably going to get some disagreements on this, is I think they should have moved Darius Garland this offseason. There's a lot of rumors of him going to Orlando. Now, obviously, Orlando got Desmond Bane at the end of the day, But whether it was Orlando or somewhere else, the 1-2 punch between Garland and Mitchell is weird at the guard position. Like, I like Donovan Mitchell better when he's the ball handler. When he either decides to pass or he's going to be a scorer, he's one of the best scorers in the NBA, and he has been for years now. I think he plays weird in that 2 role with Garland handling the ball. I don't really like it. That's just me. I don't think Garland doesn't bring enough to the table on defense. If he was a playmaker and a good defender, then I'd be, okay, I think this can work. And Mitchell did most of the scoring, but Garland's a scorer, and he's a great playmaker, but he's a scorer, but he's not very good on defense. And they have a problem out there with defense when those two are out there on the court. Now, Mobley and Jared Allen make up a lot for those mistakes, but if Mobley wasn't out there, and we're not even talking perimeter defense alone, like this is just guys who blow by them and try to get in the paint. Allen and Mobley make up a lot for that, a lot of those mistakes, and it doesn't make them look quite as bad. But, they were talking about moving off of Jared Allen. I think they should as well. I think Garland and Allen should have been moved off of. I think they could have replaced those players pretty decently. Maybe not Garland as much, but definitely Jared Allen. They could have gotten a good power forward. There was good ones out there in free agency. Whether they could have went and got Naz Reid or whatever. Oh my God, imagine Naz Reid with Evan Mobley at the 5. Evan Mobley's better at the 5 than he is at the 4. We all know that. That's why a lot of Cavs fans wanted Jared Allen gone, is because they wanted Mobley at the 5. I still think Mobley should be at the 5, to be honest with you. That's why he won Defensive Player of the Year. He's one of the best shot blockers in the league. But I don't necessarily like the fit with Garland and Mitchell. Now, in fairness, they feel like they didn't, or they couldn't have gotten a good return for Darius Garland, which if they wouldn't have gotten anything for him, then keep him. What's the point? He's an all-star caliber player. What's the point of trading that? But it's a weird fit, and their floor spacing is weird with Jared Allen on the court. Evan Mobley's an okay shooter. He gets hot at points, but your floor spacing's weird with those two on there. Jared Allen can't shoot a lick, to be honest with you, at all. So it cramps your floor a little bit. It puts a lot more pressure on Garland and Mitchell and whoever they decide to play at the 3. I like their bench depth, even though they lost Ty Jerome. I do like their bench on that team. That's why I think this team is a legitimate shot to make the NBA Finals. They at least need to make their Eastern Conference Finals. I made a video the other day about the Eastern Conference being so depleted. Tatum's out. Halliburton's out for the year. I think the Celtics are still going to be good, but they're obviously not championship contenders without Tatum. We're going to see Jaylen Brown in the number 1 role for the first time in his career, truly in his prime. I don't think he's going to be as good as Tatum, but even still, they offloaded a lot of their team. Philly's struggling with Embiid, let's just see if he can even play a game more than a season at this point, half of a season. So Philadelphia's struggling. They still have good players. I think if Embiid does come back and play, then there's going to be some real competition there for the Cavs. Obviously, New York's competition for him. New York and Cleveland's going to be competing for the number 1 seed. Milwaukee's kind of a sleeper. That Miles Turner and Giannis duo down there is going to be pretty devastating. It's going to be kind of like the Mobley and Jared Allen on defense down there, but I think Miles Turner is better than Jared Allen, and then Giannis is obviously better than Evan Mobley, so that's kind of a better duo down there. I think Kuzma's an okay player. People kind of meme him a little bit, but he's a good player. He's a good scorer at least, but he does have some lowlights, that's for sure. But besides that, Orlando feels a year or 2 away. Detroit feels a year or 2 away to me. I think Cleveland does have better rosters than those two, but they need another year or 2. And that's what I'm saying. Cleveland, to win the finals this year, needs to just do it. They need to at least get to the finals. People can take a finals loss. Like, it sucks. It definitely sucks, but at least see your team get to the finals. It's just a win. And it's like the Super Bowl. It's never a bad thing to lose the Super Bowl. But the thing is with the East, too, it's rebuilding. So every year that goes by, those bad teams in the East are going to get better because they have good players on their rosters. Charlotte's going to be better. Imagine them with another all-season and a draft. If LaMelo can stay healthy, Brandon Miller the same. Con Knuppel, I really like. He's a safe pick, but he's a good pick. That's going to be a good pick for that team. Good players on that team. They really do. I think Charlotte's on the uptrend. The Wizards are still going to suck, but they are getting good players. They have a lot of picks. So Cleveland needs to just take the reins. This is the worst Eastern Conference year in my lifetime, at least. A lot of injuries. They just need to take it and run with it this year. New York and Milwaukee are really the only two I think that can get to an NBA Finals to me. So besides those two, I like Cleveland more than those two teams. So they just got to take it and run with it. Next question. What could the peak be for the Falcons? I actually don't think they're going to be as bad as some people say. I think the peak for the Falcons is about 11 wins, 12 wins. They have a good roster. They have a good offense, good defensive players. I love their secondary with Terrell and Bates. I love their offensive weapons are great. I think Penix is going to be good. Penix is just throws a lot of dimes. He throws a beautiful ball. He's a high IQ quarterback. Lefties are always can be kind of strange in the league. Some receivers do struggle with that, even though I don't necessarily think their receivers will. But London, Mooney, Pitts, and Bijan, whether or not you think Pitts is a good player, Pitts can play. I think Pitts needs a fresh start for one. I think one of my predictions, I think when Kelsey retires after this year, Kansas City should all over Kyle Pitts. Atlanta's not going to pay him a ton of money. They're already cash strapped with Cousins and having to pay London now in a couple of years, maybe even next year. Bijan, they're not going to pay Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts doesn't want to be in Atlanta, I feel like, but having him there is just a weapon. One issue I have with Atlanta is Raheem Morris. I do not think Raheem Morris is a good coach. He's one of my hot seat candidates for this year, to be honest with you. I really do not think he is a good coach. I've seen him last year. A lot of boneheaded not calling timeouts. A lot of boneheaded timeouts. Defensive head coach that can't coach a good defense. I do not like him as a head coach. Not saying I don't like him as a person. I just don't think he's a good head coach at all. They had Bill Belichick there, which again, as a Pats fan, can kind of bother me a little bit. But I get it because he wanted to play the GM role, and obviously you don't want Bill Belichick playing the GM role. I don't blame them. He sucks as a GM. He was terrible on the Patriots. They're finally just now getting out of the hole he built as a GM. Not as a coach, but as a GM. That's why he went to college, because he gets to play GM and scout and do whatever he wants there. He has all the power in the world to do whatever he wants at University of North Carolina. Interested to see him there this year. I'm going to make a little video about that here in a little bit. A little later in the week, but I think their ceiling's about 11 or 12 wins to me is their ceiling. Not the best division in the world. I do like Carolina. They've taken a step up, but Atlanta has a better roster than Carolina. New Orleans stinks, but divisional games are weird. Tampa's their only real competition, I feel like. I think Tampa is going to win the division, to be honest with you. But, yeah, I don't like Raheem Morris as a head coach. I think he's going to end up being gone after this year. I think they're going to finish around 8 or 9 wins. I think they're probably going to finish 9-8 and be shy of the playoffs again. Then the last couple of weeks are going to be like, okay, what can we do to get to the playoffs? But they're going to finish shy again to me. So, yeah, I think their peak is about 11 wins, but I just don't think they're going to get there. I think that this time next year they're going to have a new head coach, to be honest with you. Next question. I seen you do a video yesterday on 2K games. What do you think about NBA 2K26? I'll just say this. It looks like a way better game. Have you seen My Team? I love playing My Team. I'm more of a park guy, of course. I'm more of a My Team guy, of course. I'm not more of a My Team guy, of course. I'm more of a park guy, but I love My Team. And the My Team with, I think, triple threat now, you can play 4s and you can play 2s. Dude, that is such a good addition to My Team. Playing 4s and 2s is so good. That is such a good idea. The triple threat park looks so fun to play. Now, whether or not they're scummy like they have been the last couple of years with the pack odds, and the free players they get are literally impossible to get. They make you buy packs. Whether or not they do that, it's completely up to the game, because that completely kills everything they do with my team. They're making all the best. They're making great additions to the game, but the gameplay is what matters. And them taking out, the arrow meter and the weird RNG shooting, the whole weird shooting mechanics and all, absolute dub. The rebound, they supposedly have a rebounding meter. I don't think that's going to make that big of a difference. Just grab a rebound. I don't think they're going to make it impossible to grab rebounds. If they were going to do that, if it's going to be like that in the beginning of the year, it's going to get patched in the grain meter to get rebounds. It's going to be ridiculously easy. We know 2K all too well. 2K makes it where you can't shoot for the first 2 weeks of the year, and then everyone can shoot lights out. That's that. So I have a lot of actual good hope in 2K this year. It looks good in the trailers. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a person who always looks at the good of things, who tries to look at, okay, what's the positive this game brings? It brings a lot of positive. 2K25 was a low point for 2K for me. It was low. It was boring, nothing great. The additions they made were not very good, to be honest with you. So, hey, it's definitely looking up this year. It's funny because I was talking to my friends last night. I think I'm actually good at going to pre-order 2K today. So it comes out next Friday. If you get the Carmelo Anthony edition, you get like a week early. I know, and then it's like $70 for the standard edition. If you just get it when it comes out, you don't get the week early access. But dude, seeing all my friends playing 2K, and I'm just there with the standard edition and have to wait a week, would just drive me nuts. Like a lot of my friends are getting the edition, the $100 edition with Carmelo Anthony, where you get the week early, and yeah, just I can't sit there for a week and I hear everyone laughing, having fun with 2K, and I'm sitting there waiting to play. No, I'm too impatient for all that. I can't do it. So it's funny because I'm probably gonna end up pre-ordering it today, now that I see this question. So yeah, there's actually a lot of hope for 2K this year. I think it's going to be a good year for 2K. Looks good. Next question. Would you be willing to do full-on segments about baseball? The postseason is near, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on baseball. I would like to talk about more baseball on the channel. I played baseball my whole life. Played baseball like 17, 18 years of my life. Played baseball a very long time. I was a pitcher and outfielder, not necessarily the best hitter in the world, but, whatever. I was just an average hitter. I didn't necessarily the greatest power, but I can tell you something, I throw a lot of strikes out there on the mound. I can promise you that. I am the strongest arm, but I can throw a hell of a lot of strikes out there on the mound. That's why one thing was control. And I'm trying to think. I was trying to think of the segment I had on baseball and the name of it. It's in my script in my book, but of course it's out in the living room, so I can't grab that right now. I don't know why I brought it out there yesterday, now that I think about it, but I'll make sure to bring it up in a video of my segment on baseball for you. If you want to watch it, I could try bringing it up tomorrow. Or just DM me again and I'll let you know, but I was definitely thinking about doing some segments on baseball. The problem is with baseball, man, baseball's in a bad spot right now. It really is. People say what they want, but it's just, baseball needs a salary cap. The players don't like hearing that because the players are getting contracts that are nearing $800 million. So of course I seen Bryce Harper say something about it a couple of months ago about how he hates the fans here, and he was kind of a douche about it. Talking about the fans, talking about the salary cap. Dude, of course you don't want a salary cap. You're getting paid $500 million. So if there's a salary cap, you're not getting all that money. And honestly, bro, I hate to say it, but you're one of the more kind of diva players we've had over the last, I don't know, long time at least. He's got a lot of praise for someone who is a high talent player, a great player. But you think the way he talks about himself and the way people talk about him, he's freaking our generation's Babe Ruth or something. No, bro, you ain't that, I promise. But baseball is just, I'm definitely going to talk about it more in the postseason. I do love postseason baseball, but I'm an Orioles fan, and between the Orioles just completely offloading the roster, even though they're actually playing okay from what I've seen in the last couple of games. It was choked it last night against the Red Sox. They gave up 2 runs in the ninth, and they came back and won it in extra innings. But there's too many bad teams and very few competitors right now. And no matter how bad the Dodgers and Yankees do in the regular season, they're going to perform in the playoffs. When it comes down to having just the best players and them having to play their best, we're going to see another Yankees and Dodgers World Series. And while people were talking about it last year and while it had good viewership, people are going to get sick and tired of constantly watching the Yankees and the Dodgers throw money at everybody, and no one else can compete. Baseball has 2 of the worst scenarios going for it right now. No salary cap and a draft lottery. 2 of the worst scenarios for a sport baseball has going for it. If they would just offload one, people could deal with the draft lottery a little more because teams could compete with getting high-level free agents, but they can't even do that. And they can't even draft high. So yeah, baseball's in a really bad spot. I don't try to stay away from it, but there's other news out there. Again, like the NFL starting up, the NBA, even the NBA, who is down in viewership. If there's news out there, I gotta put that in front of baseball. It's just the truth. As much as I love baseball, I've been a baseball player all my life. I love keeping up with baseball. I love the Orioles. I love a lot of. I honestly, I love like the Oakland Athletics and stuff. I love watching those teams, even though they suck. But they had some pretty decent teams in the mid 2010s and stuff that I really enjoyed watching. Remember like Coco Crisp. I don't know if you guys remember him. That's a pull right there. But it's tough. The bad teams are bad and stay bad, and we're in an era of players getting $800 million contracts. It's time. It's time to change something in the league. So, and honestly, baseball does not draw on viewership on sports podcasts and stuff. I love talking about it and I'll talk about it, but I've got to put other sports in front of baseball, unfortunately for my baseball fans. But yeah, I love baseball, and I'm definitely going to talk about it more as the postseason, but the regular season, it's tough, especially the NFL seasons here. Last question of the day. Someone asked me, do you think the Bears, after yesterday's blowout, should gain some serious respect from some teams and people coming into this season? I'll just say this. You're not going to get a lot of respect because it's a preseason game. Caleb Williams and them being out there and looking very sharp on their drives was an absolute positive. But to be honest with you, the Bears have a constant disappointing seasons in the league. It's hard to get respect as a Bears fan. Not necessarily you as a fan, but the team getting respect is hard because they've had some teams that are last year, as an example. I seen some people putting the Bears in their freaking Super Bowl contenders last year, and they were terrible. I think Eberflus definitely played a part in that for sure. He's a bad coach. I think Ben Johnson's definitely a step up. The offense is going to look better, but you got to prove in the regular season. You've got to go out there and start off 6-3 at least. If you go 6-3, people are going to respect the Bears. But winning 38 to whatever in a meaningless preseason game against the Bills, who if they started their starters, that game would not be what it was, and I think we all know that, does not mean anything, and it's going to be hard to gain respect. I am higher on the Bears. I think the Bears, seeing that drive, it was good to see, but let's see the regular season game consistently and 1 week after another. Let's start one step at a time first before I put some serious respect for the Bears. I do like what they're doing. I like their roster. They have good players. They have to, like I said, show in the regular season first for people to give them respect, because Bears take a lot of flack. They're one of the biggest markets in football, and especially with Caleb Williams being such a controversial quarterback, a lot of people, it's not that they don't like him, but, the decisions with him painting his nails and stuff like that, people don't like that stuff. And, that's completely up to them, but they don't like it, and they don't like his attitude. They think he's a cocky guy. Whatever it is, Shador is the same problem, not necessarily with everything else, but the cocky guy, the kind of all about me attitude. not necessarily saying Shador's that way, but they're very self-centered guys. They are constantly putting themselves in front of the camera and for everyone to see. They're like celebrities, pretty much, to be honest with you. So, we'll see. I think the Bears will be good, but the Bears are bad this season, man. There's going to be a lot of talk about Caleb Williams. And was Ben Johnson the right move? They extended Ryan Poles. Was that the right move? Man, the Bears got a lot on the line this season. They do, because it's going to feel hopeless for the Bears if they go 5-12 or 6-11. Even honestly, 9-8 would feel good for the Bears. Even if they missed the playoffs, 9-8 would feel good. It's like, wow, okay, we had a winning season. How can we improve? If they go 5-12, it's like, dude, what the hell can we do now? So we'll see. I like the Bears, but give them a little bit before we say put in some respect. Let's see a couple of regular season games first with this group. That's it for today's Why Not Wednesday. Again, if you have questions you want answered here on the pod, make sure to look down in the description or just look up at talkofthetown_pod. It is down in the description below. Fire in those DMs, questions, wherever, TikTok, in the comments here, or on Instagram. I'm free to any questions you got. If you like today's video, make sure to subscribe. I am on the road to 100 subscribers, so please hit that subscribe button. I do daily uploads here just for you guys. I love doing this. This is a dream of mine. Plan on doing this for a very long time. So, yeah, we're here for the long run, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And thank you guys for all the questions and your support, and I will see you guys tomorrow.